Happy Saturday afternoon, Tucson. This is Sean Campbell, and I am your host of the Marketing Corner. Hope everybody's doing well on this holiday weekend. What do you got planned for the weekend? You got anything special going on tomorrow? Maybe spending some time with the friends and family and behaving, of course. It's a weekend that we all need to behave, and maybe I'll take my own advice right there tonight or not. So, guess what, guys? It's El Lobo Solo today. There is no other co-host. There's no other special guest. You get just me, just me. So, if you have any questions, we have four topics we're going to be covering today. One is something I harp on all the time. Every consultations, the 80-20 rule of marketing. We're going to go into some depth on that in this first segment. Second segment, we'll dive into what's working now, some of the digital marketing trends of 2025 that are happening now. We're going to get into a little bit of a deep dive on that. The third segment, zero waste marketing. That's if you don't know what that is, stick around to the bottom of the hour. Is going to be invaluable for you to kind of save time, and you'll learn how I repurpose some of my content for my own marketing needs. And we'll wrap it up at the end of the hour with branding versus marketing. How much do you guys know? I mean, what do you guys want to talk about? I mean, those are the segments that we're going to be talking about. Those are the topics we'll be talking about. Got any questions? 520-790-2040. Let's talk. Let's talk about your business. If you're thinking about starting a business and you don't know where to get started, hey, I've done it myself. This November will mark 10 years since I started my own social media agency. Started my career working for myself. So wrote a book about it. I did everything you could, basically do wrong. I did it, so if you're thinking about starting a business, give me a call. Let's talk about what you're doing and, maybe some of the first steps from my experience and, some of the people that I know, the network that I built over the years. 520-790-2040. But the first topic in this segment, let's talk about the 80-20 rule. And if you listen to the show, I always harp on this. What is the 80-20 rule of marketing? And why should you apply this to your marketing efforts today with your small business? And it's the simple fact that whenever I speak to a potential new client or even current clients, you always want to know how to get the new clients, how to get your new customers. But before that, I strongly believe, because 80% of your revenue, no matter what business you are in, no matter what industry you're in, about 80% of your revenue is going to come from 20% of your clientele, period, right? Check out your books, however you track your sales or, whatever that method is, and you will find that about 80% of your revenue is going to come from 20% of your clientele, right? And what are you doing before you go out and find those new clients? What are you doing to keep that 20% that's driving in 80% of your revenue? You got to focus on that first. You got to keep in tune to that audience online. You got to keep in tune to that audience, whether it's face-to-face, email marketing, a text, depending on if you're a consultant, maybe you're a financial planner. My financial planner, he sends us a text every week, every Monday. Every Monday morning, he gives us an update on the market, what to expect, and it's good stuff. He's caring about us, and that only goes out to his clients. That's one thing. Email marketing, I know a lot of people think that email marketing is dead or outdated or whatever. Frankly, I almost don't care if I do have very high open rates for all the emails that I do for myself or for my clients. There's a method to the madness to make sure that your customers are opening those emails and seeing if you have any offers in them, especially just for them. But it's just another touch. It's just another reminder that you care about them. Special offers. I have a client that I subscribe to his email marketing because I don't handle it, but every single month he has something just for his past clients, a special just for his past clients that you don't find on his website, you don't find on his social media, you don't find anywhere else except especially for his past clients. It's a perfect example of somebody who's taking care of that 20% of the people that they do business with bringing in 80% of your revenue, right? You want to keep that 80% strong. You want to keep that going, right? Um, uh, so, I mean, if tell me or think about what are you doing to touch, to keep in contact, to show that 20% that you appreciate them. One things that, in being in this field, I have to admit, maybe I'm, sometimes I have to turn it off, right? And by no means am I perfect. By no means am I perfect with my clients. I try to be, you know, um, conscientious and considerate or whatnot. But I make mistakes every once in a while. But everywhere I go, I do have those tuners on. I am very well aware of what's going on from a business aspect, and I kind of try to get a sense what management is trying to accomplish or what ownership is trying to accomplish, especially in local you know bars and restaurants, local coffee shops, local eateries, bookstores, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, what have you done to put into place for your employees to make sure that the regulars, that the normal people that are always coming in for lunch, the people that are coming in on a daily basis for a coffee and the donut, people that are coming in for happy hour, you know, for a beer, right? What are you doing to empower your employees to make sure that they're taking care of those regulars, right? I won't name this coffee shop, but I moved about 7 or 8 years ago, and there's a coffee shop literally 2 minutes from where I live right now. And for over 20 days straight, because I was waiting for my new office to open up, 20 days straight, including the weekends, I'd go in roughly about the same times, between like 7:45, 8:15. They were mostly the same people. Ownership was there, management was there, people at the front desk were there. Uh, Mostly the same people. There's always somebody there that after the first few days, there's always somebody there I've seen before. And it was just Groundhog Day. Every time I'd come in, I'd get the same coffee, the same way, get the same pastry, sit in the same spot if it was available, sit there and work for a few hours every single morning. And every single time, it was as if I had walked in there for the first time. You would think after 4 or 5, I don't know, 16, 18, 20 days, hey, Sean, you're getting the same coffee, you're getting this pastry, or, it never happened, not once. And the same people were there. And I believe the owner was there. I believe their manager was there every single time I walked in there. So did I feel welcome, after spending $8 for a coffee and, another $8, $9 for the same pastry every single day? They could have at least kind of acknowledged that, hey, you've been here 15 days, 2 weeks straight, every single day. I'm not asking for anything free, but at least when I'd get up there to the front of the line, at least they were acknowledged that, hey, good to see you. Could we get you the same coffee, Sean? Could we get you the same pastry you've had? You know, what do you do? Just start some type of, I don't know, conversation. But I felt very unwelcome. The more days I'd gone there, the more days I felt more and more unwelcome. And honestly, I went there to try to, I was supporting local, obviously, but I really didn't like the coffee. It was just so convenient. It was just down the street, plenty of room. I liked the space. It was, whatever. I went there even though I didn't even like the coffee. I drank more water than I did coffee there. So that's one of those things. What are you doing to empower your employees or to get them to acknowledge after somebody's been there over and over and over again? And again, I'm not saying you had to get something away for free, but just that simple acknowledgement. Or maybe every once in a while, hey, really thank you for your business. Thanks for dropping by here. Hey, I want to pick up your coffee today. You know, how much of an investment would that have cost them? And how much time would that have taken? It would have taken about 5.6 seconds. Their cost would have been $2, right? And I wouldn't be telling this story about them. I'm not going to say who it was, obviously. I wouldn't do that. But it's simple things like that, acknowledging the people that are keeping your lights on, that are paying your bills, that are helping you pay your employees and paying your salary. Acknowledge that we're there. right? So it's one of those things. 80-20 rule. 80-20. It was a very, very fast first segment. We're going to be taking a break here in a few seconds. And when we come back, let's talk about some 2025 digital marketing trends. And get a pen or paper, give us a call, 520-790-2040. You're listening to The Marketing Corner. I'm your host, Sean Campbell. We are back in The Marketing Corner. I'm your host, Sean Campbell, and I am flying solo today, which I get to hog up all the content today. I don't know if you realize this, but every week, week in and week out, go to my YouTube channel, The Marketing Corner, with Sean Campbell, and you see all the content, and I do a bunch of shorts, and usually I get a lot of my guests and stuff on there. Today it's on me. It's all me, so I get a ton of content from my own social media, so I'm not complaining about this. Second segment, 2025 digital marketing trends. Grab a pen and pencil, or, rewatch this as it's going to be replayed on YouTube and Spotify next week. Digital marketing trends for this year, and I think it's safe to say that these are going to be kind of not just the rest of this year, but going forward, right? I mean, more and more short form video is dominating what you should be doing as a part of your social media efforts, right? One of the reasons why I do this show is because of the video opportunity that that's presented to me by the station here. I take the video, I take the clips, and I repurpose this, and I put this on TikTok, Reels, and YouTube Shorts, right? So in addition to the audience, if you're listening out there right now, in addition to the audience listenership as this is going on live, I'm able to take advantage of utilizing this trend, the short form video, on TikTok, on Reels, and on Shorts, right? And I'm relying on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, right? So those four platforms, right? TikTok, Reels, meaning Facebook and Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. Across the board, I'd look at this as an accumulation of how many views I'm getting for all these clips. And I'm seeing what works, what doesn't work, right? So sometimes a clip would do pretty well on TikTok, but not so much on Meta, right? Facebook or Instagram. Sometimes I get, a lot of views on YouTube Shorts, but not really too much on the other platforms, right? So the trick, though, with the short form videos is you need to have a hook. Those first 3 seconds are crucial into making sure that you're capturing somebody's attention as they're scrolling through their feed, right? So you got to have that hook, right? I was asked to do an evaluation on some social media this week, and the videos, although the videos were very informative, they lacked a hook. And this Facebook page had over 10,000 people following it with only 1 or 2 likes every video. And there's some other, things that they could have done a lot better, but none of these videos had any hooks to capture people's attention, right? On the phone, Mr. David Bradley. How you doing, Dave?
What's up, buddy?
What's going on? How you doing?
Good, man. Sorry to interrupt your
No.
segment with the digital marketing trends, man.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know you were flying solo, man. Anytime you're flying solo, just give me a call.
I didn't know I was flying solo until about 5 minutes before the show started.
No way.
I'm doing all right, though, right?
Man.
I'm doing all right. I'm going to let you and the audience know.
Away,
What's that?
I'm only a phone call away.
Only a phone call away. So what I did, I let the audience know, it's like, man, Sean seemed really prepared for this, right? I literally just chat GBT'd, what each segment's going to be on the Marketing Corner. So it's giving me a little outline of what to talk about today. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I tuned in real quick. I don't want to take up much of the show, but I tuned in and I'm like, dang, Sean's doing a lot of talking. I'm like, he's got to be solo. You know what I mean?
He's got to be solo, huh? Yeah, it's me and chat
back
today.
From Orlando, man. I miss you, dude. On this subject, though, digital marketing trends,
Yep.
I saw an alarming fact this morning
Hmm.
from a very valuable source who I've known for many, many years that AI deals were 71% of all venture capital investment dollars in Q1 of 2025.
Wow.
That is
Wow.
insane.
71%. Oh,
Yes,
wow.
AI.
That's nuts. I don't know, think about it, it's not that surprising, but yeah, wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Unreal. Unreal. Oh, yeah.
crazy, crazy stuff.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for calling, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for calling. We'll get together. We got together next week because we got to accomplish what I'm actually talking about right now, short form videos for you.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
All right. Talk to you soon, dude.
Bye, buddy.
Later. Yeah. So, yeah. Thanks for calling in, Dave. Kind of got me off my rhythm here, but that's fine. Another trend for 2025 outside of short form video, Dave kind of touched upon it right there, AI content, right? AI content. The caveat has got to be with a human touch, right? What I do, and I've talked about this before on the show, is like for every client that I, assist with their content, I actually build a profile for them in AI that talks about their brand, that reads the previous blogs, that looks over their previous content. So each one of my clients, I am utilizing AI to create content for them, whether it's in form of a blog or content on a website, social media. However, it's all in their voice because I create these profiles for them, right? If you are going to get ahead of the game and make sure that you stand out in front of all that noise out there, and if you're hesitant to use AI, you're falling behind from all the people that do, right? I didn't partake in it. I should step back. I watched a 2 day video conference, the social media marketing world, and AI was the dominant topic on every single discussion that I listened to, whether it was about LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube. It was the use of AI and the tools that are available out there. And across the board, everybody says that, people that are hesitant think that it's going to be too generic, too general. There's going to be some mistakes. However, it's up to you to tailor your AI tools and custom your content utilizing AI. Mo Russo, who's the sponsor of the show, is tremendous at doing that. He turns out a ton of content, and it's all in his voice, his brand, works that he's done, books that he's written. It's all based on that, right? Another trend in 2025 in digital marketing, the rise of micro communities and comment driven content. It's not just how often you're posting on any of the platforms, and this is probably universal on whatever social media platform we're talking about, but your comments in other people's posts, but the caveats, it's gotta be people of relevance. I hate to say it that way, but micro influencers, right? Think of your comments and don't just put a thumbs up emoji or a happy face or some flames that are on fire. Put a thoughtful comment and think of each one of those as little posts for you to be introduced to their audience, right? And the more that you utilize the tools on social media, including thoughtful, good, genuine, constructive comments on posts, the more the platforms are going to reward you and put you in front of more people that's going to be your potential audience, your potential clients, and increase your influence across the board. That's pertinent to LinkedIn, that's pertinent to TikTok, that's everything, Facebook, Instagram. And I know because when I'm good and I'm in that zone and I'm commenting on stuff that of good people, when I say like everybody's good, I'm not saying there's bad people, doing this. I'm just saying that people that are of relevance, that have influence in the audience that you want to tap into, then comment on their post, give some feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. Do it very professionally, right? Get you in front of their audience and tap into that. And the more the social media platforms will reward you for doing that. Trust me on that. Test it out. Strategic use of paid ads with Facebook, Instagram, and Google, right? I'm not an expert when it comes to Google Ads. I do know how you can mess them up, by spending money on words that are not in your wheelhouse. If you repair cars and you specialize in Hondas, but you're driving or utilizing keywords to bring in, Fords or Chevys, then you're wasting money on that, right? Get with somebody that knows how to run good Google ads, paid ads, right? That's are efficient with your money. And for the people that are immediate searching for your services, you got to put some money into Google ads. It just is, whether you're good, bad, or indifferent, whether you love Google or not, you got to do it, right? Um, Facebook and Instagram and paid ads. I'm a big believer to utilize Facebook and Meta more for the brand awareness aspect of it, right? Build up your audience, be in front of them before you run any type of, ROI or traffic type of campaigns. So they see you before you do run those type of campaigns. Brand awareness campaigns on Facebook and Meta are still today, and it's been this way for years, for over a decade, the best use of your money when it comes to brand awareness, the most efficient use. Tens of thousands of people will see that are in your audience will see your ads over and over and over again. And it's easy. Well, for me, because I'm in Facebook every day, it's easy for me to help out a client to run 40, 50, 60 variations of ads, test those out, see which ones work, see which ones don't. And if you know how to utilize Ads Manager in Facebook and Instagram, you're ahead of 99% of the other businesses trying to spend money on Facebook and Instagram. So, and then real quick though, well, we don't have time for that. We got 30 seconds left in this comment. I am better flying solo than what I thought, guys. I'm not going to apologize for that. So, and heading into the bottom of the hour, when we come back from the third segment, we're going to talk about zero waste marketing. You're listening to the Marketing Corner. I'm your host, Sean Campbell. We are back from the Marketing Corner. I'm your host, Sean Campbell. You're getting a lot of gold nuggets today, guys. You really are. You really are. I'm glad you're listening. I appreciate you guys for listening. Third segment, hey, zero waste marketing. I think we all can agree as small business owners, entrepreneurs, executives, marketers, that our most valuable assets are time, right? So when you are putting together your content for your social media, blogs, articles on LinkedIn, whatever that may be, you need to be utilizing that content across more than one platform. Here's what I mean. This show, for example, one of the primary purposes for this show, right, was to not only have this live audience and to provide you, the audience, with some tidbits on, how to, effectively run your business. But I get this show every week by Tuesday or Wednesday. The tremendous staff here at Bustos Media has this available for me to use as I wish, mostly for the video and audio, right? I repurpose this show and I utilize it as a podcast on my YouTube channel and on Spotify, right? Then I break the show up into 12 to 15 trailers to utilize across Reels, TikTok, YouTube, et cetera, right? So then from the content, I could embed the videos into my emails. I can create LinkedIn articles. I could put, quotes that people have said on my social media. So I'm utilizing this content here in multiple ways, right? And this is an old Gary Vee strategy. I'm not, a guru by any means. I'm a very good student, I think, of marketing. But this is an old Gary Vee, Gary Vaynerchuk. If you're going to do anything in marketing, do anything for your small business, do yourself a favor, pick up a Gary Vaynerchuk book. Pick up the most recent book, okay? Listen to that, get inspired, get motivated, and you're going to get off your butt, right? But one of the concepts is to utilize this, and I'm going to break this content that you're listening to right now into multiple pieces of content across all my platforms, whether it's in short form video or I take the transcripts from this episode and turn this into articles on LinkedIn. An article on LinkedIn, it's a little bit off script, but turn that into your own newsletter on LinkedIn, right? I have about 11,000 connections on LinkedIn, right? and I would say almost a fifth of those subscribe to my newsletter on LinkedIn, and they get that newsletter in their email as a notification on LinkedIn and in their feed, right? Again, I'm utilizing this content, repurposing it for zero waste marketing, right? Turn this content into multiple pieces of content across all your platforms. And you're asking, how do I do that? It must take a ton of time. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Descript. 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 Go online, find that, check it out, and you're going to be like, oh, that's how you can do that. Of course, ChatGPT. Oh, here's a little another nugget. I should be asking you guys for like a GoFundMe for all this stuff. Here's another nugget. From one of the trailers that I do from this, what you're listening to now, I will upload that after I run that through Opus, upload it to Chat, and ask it to create content for me across the different platforms. And everyone, whether it's going to be on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or wherever, TikTok, wherever I put it, YouTube Shorts, it'll be a different copy because Chat will do that for me, right? That's how I pump out so much content for myself, week in, week out. Canva. Canva is one of those programs that, you know, everybody, all the Adobe snobs out there, Canva is this, Canva is that. Right? Yeah, you're right. Canva is this and that right now. There's so many AI components in Canva that if you're not, again, small business owner, whatever you're doing, if you're creating content for yourself, if you're not investing into a monthly subscription in Canva, you're missing the boat. There's so many tools there. You can create your unique music for your clubs. You can create AI people that talk in your in your videos on it. You can create AI images that look very, very, very realistic, right? And it's gone over the last few months. It's tremendously improved because a few months ago you do an AI person, you could tell because they have like 7 fingers on one hand, right? It's not like that anymore. There's tools in Canva right now, and it's what, 50, $60 a month. How are you not using Canva if you have a small business and you're creating your own content? How are you not? Every time I see a commercial on Canva or see that it's sponsoring something, I'm like, ugh, the cat's out of the bag now. Everybody knows about it. But still, it's probably one of the most underutilized tools out there that we all have. CapCut is another tool that can help you with your video, short form video. Okay. I like Opus. Opus is another one, you know, where you're literally just uploading your long form video, putting in keywords. You could put in how you want your text to look on it. You could put in the length of the video, whether you want under 30 seconds or 30 to 60 or over 60. It'll put all that there for you, and it has an editor, so you want to like close up on people if you want emojis or don't want emojis, et cetera, et cetera. I can upload this video of this show and have about 20 clips of content from this show in a matter of maybe 12 to 15 minutes. So yeah, zero waste marketing. If you're not utilizing these methods, right, and doing things the old-fashioned way, where you're kind of sitting down, and you know, I admire that if you are doing that. But again, you need to be in front of your people as often as possible, right? You need to have captivating short-form video. If you need help with scripts on your short-form video, go to ChatGPT and it'll pump out scripts, right? Hey, I want a hook, I want a problem, I want the solution. Use that formula right there. ChatGPT. I need 12 videos for my industry and my voice and my brand, and I need scripts for each one, where each one has a hook, each one has a problem, each one has a solution, right? 15 to 30-second videos. And pretend as if you're, or do a podcast. Do what I'm doing, but do it in a podcast studio, right? So challenge yourself, right? And the challenge, here's a challenge for you right now. For the month of May, we're about halfway through this month, and, you know, holiday weekend, we're not going to do anything until Monday or Tuesday anyway. For the rest of this month and all of May, commit yourself, you know, drag you through the mud here to learn ChatGPT, to learn Descript. If you're not utilizing Canva, learn Canva. Learn either CapCut or Opus. Don't worry about putting out any content. Just learn these tools that I'm giving you right now. Take some notes. Ask these tools how you can integrate one another to put out all this content for yourself, whether it's whether it's a form of short form video, carousels do tremendously on Instagram and Facebook, especially when you run them as ads. Some of my most effective, most efficient brand awareness ads are carousel ads on Facebook and Instagram, hands down. Right? Emails, utilizing your long form content and putting them into an email form, right? MailChimp, super easy, super intuitive. There's even a text message function on MailChimp now. It's phenomenal. LinkedIn articles, turn those articles into your own newspaper. Down your newspaper, your own newsletter, right? Again, build up. And the beauty of creating your own newsletter on LinkedIn is that you don't have to ask people to subscribe to it. LinkedIn will reach out to your connections for you and ask them to subscribe to that newsletter. Pump out a newsletter every week after you learn these tools: Descript, ChatGPT, Canva, and CapCut, right? Create your own profile on AI. This is who I am. This is if you've written a book, if you've written any blogs, any case studies you've done, or just educate chat on who you are, what your brand's all about, and be in your voice. And all this is going to turn your marketing online around in about 4 to 6 weeks. I'm not going to say a heartbeat. You do got to put in the work. But after you do put in the work, the amount of content that you're going to put out there that's going to be effective, that's going to increase your influence to your audience across all these platforms, will be exponentially higher. And I want to be a little arrogant right now and just say you're welcome. The last segment coming up, branding versus marketing. I love this last segment. I wish it was another hour of the show that I could talk about branding versus marketing. If you have any questions of what I just talked about, 520-790-2040, please call me. Let's get your marketing straightened up. I'll give you some more tips. If there's anything I missed, let me know. You are listening to the Marketing Corner. I am your host, Sean Campbell. We're back in the Marketing Corner. I'm your host, Sean Campbell. Man, I almost messed up there. Thanks, John, for keeping me in line. I was going over some of my, honestly, guys, I was going over some of my fantasy baseball lineups today. Yeah. I love baseball, guys. Love baseball. Baseball relates so much to business for me. It's unreal. So, as I always start the last segment by thanking John. Thanks for keeping me in line today, John. Appreciate it. And all the sponsors of the show, including, let's see, where are you guys? Bill Netherton, Professional Bartenders Unlimited, just down the street from the studios. Bill's a great dude. Man, I love talking to Bill. David Bradley, thanks for calling in. Medicare A to Z, just got back from a big Florida conference. Always working on his business, always doing the right thing, knowing the guy for 2 decades now. Candace Eaton, I will be taking some headshots with Candace on Monday. Looking forward to that. Danny McPadden, Last Bridge Media, tremendous videographer in town. Juan J.D. DeGallo, Rum Roofs Are Hot. Mo Russo, executive and business coach. Robert Callison from eForce Marketing, specializing in website design and SEO. The Spark Project Collective. And next week's guest, Adelie Hunt, will be in studio. So let me get back to the last segment, as I promised, branding versus marketing. What do you guys think is the difference between branding and marketing, right? My interpretation of that, I'm very, very old school, right? Marketing, I think, is one of the most, honestly, it's kind of a misused. We kind of misuse it on the show, but everybody gets what I mean by digital marketing. Right? Everybody gets marketing. Everybody thinks that marketing is just sales, right? It's a lot more to that. It's, how effectively are you utilizing the tools, your expenses, your investment in the right tools, the training of your people, the training of your management, the where your location is, the pricing of, your services or products. Marketing is more encompassing, you know, than just sales, right? Your marketing reps, are your sales reps essentially. But we've kind of put them, made it fancy and call of our sales reps. They're marketing reps. They're marketing professionals, right? But they're salespeople at the end of the day, right? But marketing does encompass everything from, your concept to your logo to, again, the how well you're buying, your resources to produce your services or your products or whatnot. Again, how you treat your employees, how you develop your leadership. Marketing encompasses, back in the day when I was in school, it was 7 P's, but I went to the U of A in a marketing class, was a year or two ago, and they're like, Sean, there's only 4 P's of marketing, right? I can't tell you what the 4 P's of marketing right now, but they're probably your product, your promotion, your people, and the placement or something like that, the pricing, whatever that is, right? It's more encompassing than just sales, right? So when we're talking about your branding, I always like to think of my brand as what people are going to say about me when I leave. What does John or engineer say about me when I leave the studio, right? When I'm at the Stands Club and I'm networking, shaking hands, kissing babies, what are people saying about me when I leave? Hopefully it's all good stuff. Hopefully it's all positive stuff. But to me, branding is especially in today's era, because you put yourself out there on your social as the at the forefront. Whether you have a business of employees or not, you should be. Personal branding is essential these days. But what are people saying about you, right? That's the way I look at branding, right? So branding is that, what do people say about you when you leave the room or the building, versus marketing, which is more encompassing, right? But how do you utilize your branding with your marketing, right? Are you building a business or are you building a brand? What are you doing? Are you building your business or are you building a brand? Which comes first, right? The chicken or the egg? Does your brand come before your business or your business before your brand, right? So why is brand perception, the perception of your brand needs to drive your trust and ultimately would drive conversion, right? So from one aspect, if you put your brand ahead of your business, you're building that trust, and ultimately that trust will lead to more conversions, ultimately more ROI for your business, right? So in my opinion, build your brand first. A little bit deeper, build your personal brand first. Build up that trust in your community, build up that trust in your industry, right? Do free stuff. When I built my business, nearly 10 years ago, I did a lot of free stuff, meaning that I put myself in coffee shops. I put myself in, the big rooms at the hotels. I put myself in front of I put myself in front of a ton of realtors in town, and I gave away the house, so to speak, as far as like what everybody should be doing on their social media. A lot of talk that I'm talking about today, right? I built up a trust around the community that I knew what I was talking about. And ultimately, that did lead to more conversions for me, more clients for me, right? So, in my opinion, if you're starting out, I'm not saying give away free websites if you're a website designer, but give away free workshops to show people you know what you're talking about and that you're being transparent and answer all the questions, right? Because ultimately, people, it's not like you could pick up how to build a website or whatever, right? But you are going to build that trust. You are going to build up your brand, your personal brand, and your reputation, especially in Tucson. We talk about it all the time here on the marketing corner. We talk about it all the time. You need to be 1 degree away from everybody. You need to follow through on what you say you're going to do. Because if you are 1 degree away from money, but you don't follow through on what you say you're going to do, or you deceive people on what you're going to do, people are going to find out. People are going to find out, right? And your brand, your personal brand, is going to go down the toilet, right? So you got to follow through on what you say you're going to do, right? The difference between a short-term sale and long-term brand equity. Think about that. Are you willing to sacrifice to get that short-term quick sale? Then you end up not following through what you say you're going to do for your client to build up that long-term brand equity. And again, your clients more than likely know more of your potential clients or existing clients. You do not want to tarnish your personal brand by not following through on what you say you're going to do, right? How consistent are you in your tone, in your visuals, and in the values that you present yourself as on social to who you are in real life, right? That's the Instagram effect, right? There's nothing worse than somebody presenting themselves as, I'm a millionaire and I wake up $100 bills, I drive a Ferrari, and they're just not, right? And it's okay. It's okay if you're not. It's okay to show the grind. It's okay to show that you get up at 4:30 in the morning. It's okay to show that things aren't perfect, because nothing's perfect for anybody, right? You become more relatable, and you're showing the truth, which again will drive towards more trust, right? So think about it, right? Here's a takeaway for you, right? Create like a little checklist for yourself, right? Of who you present yourself as online, you as your personal brand, and who you really are. If any of you that follow me on LinkedIn are listening right now, you look at my profile pic. I'm literally wearing the shirt. I had to admit I'm wearing the shirt that I'm wearing on my profile pic right now. It's the Black Hustle shirt. I'm not, that's my headshot. That's who I am. I'm not saying it's bad that, you wear a tie or whatever, but I am just a grinder. I'm a student of what I do. And I think the only way that's going to keep me ahead of the game is that I need to outwork everybody, right? I think I'm very, very humble. And in my profile picture, I'm in a pair of jeans and a black t-shirt that says hustle on it, because that's who I am. That's what I do, right? I get up early, I do my thing, and I like to try to accomplish more by 10 o'clock than most people do in the entire day. That's just my brand. That's who I am, right? I shut it down by 5 or 6 o'clock, and I turn off my phone and do that stuff, right? I try to find a balance, but I put my brand out there, and I think I follow through with my clients, and what I say I'm going to do, I follow through on it. And if I don't think I'm going to meet a deadline, if I don't think, I'd let them know. I don't try to hide nothing. Just let them know, right? So put down a checklist of what you think your brand is and who you think you are, and how much of those things do you think that you are actually presenting to your audience online, whether it's on your website, your social media, and if you write blogs, write a book, do a podcast, right? Does that checklist, does your brand checklist that who you really are match to what you're replicating for yourself online, right? Are you building that trust? You don't want to actually, one of the biggest compliments I get as I wrap up the show, one of the biggest compliments I get that I like is if I'm at, somewhere and I'm networking and someone says, "You're the guy on LinkedIn. You're the guy with the show. You're the guy who wrote the book." To me, that's telling me that my brand awareness, that my personal brand is out there, and that I'm getting in front of the right people with it, and that I'm approachable, right? I think I'm very, very approachable. I don't want to present myself as better than anybody else. I like to be authentic. I like to share my flaws. I like to just share how I messed up. So as you're building your business, you don't do the same mistakes that I do. So, an hour-long show, John. I'm exhausted. I'm going to go home and take a nap. So, audience, I appreciate you tuning in, listening to the show. I hope I kept you entertained at least. I'm seriously out of breath right now. So, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Easter weekend. I hope you spend some good time with some friends and family. I hope you have a very, very safe weekend, and be responsible out there. Until next week, I'm Sean Campbell. This was the Marketing Corner.